So part 4, we're about to go speak to that random,
Random Randy?
Yeah. So, here we go. Alright, so let's...
Give up your secrets, gentlemen.
Yeah, so this is the prompter, so the dude who, sits on the little swing and will tell people what their lines are should they miss them.
Oh.
This man is named Jacques, and he is not in the book at all. He is kind of taking the role of a character that I briefly mentioned in the last episode, the Persian. The Persian was a character who basically knew the Phantom the best, and was a pretty important guy in that he was the one to show Raoul where the Phantom lived, and basically without his help, Raoul would never be able to have saved Christine. The Persian is so important to the book that even to the point that he becomes the narrator at one point for several chapters, taking over the third-person narrative.
Have you ever seen the Opera Ghost?
And what's his relation to the Phantom? Like, how did he know where he lived?
I have indeed.
Well, we kind of go into the backstory of the Phantom a little bit here, at least according to how this game portrays him. In the novel, the Phantom, when he was very young, he ran away, basically because of his deformity. He joined a traveling sideshow, and there he was exhibited as a living corpse. And while there, he already had a great singing voice, so that was part of his act, is that he would get up on stage without his mask, and he would sing. He became pretty well known during this, to the point where the then Shah of Persia requested that the Phantom be found and brought to Persia to perform for him. And that's where the Persian comes in that the Persian was the one who was sent out to bring Eric back to Persia.
Oh, I see.
So, Eric, the Phantom, hung out in Persia for a bit, and this is kind of where he kind of became known as the trapdoor lover. While the Phantom was in Persia, he designed a palace for the king. It's kind of touched upon. Just to kind of, as I'm pointing it out here in the recording, everybody and their dog knows the Phantom's name.
That's weird.
Yeah, the only people to know the Phantom's name in the original novel were Christine, Raoul, and the Persian. So, it's just really weird that everybody knows who it is, especially as we're gonna see, knowing the Phantom's name is the answer to a puzzle in this game, so it's a little bullshit that
is
it's so...
super bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, and here too, we are going to want to remember the music that Jacques mentions here, as this is also going to be part of a puzzle later on.
Oh.
But back to the backstory of the Phantom here. So the Shah commissioned Eric to build a palace for him, and it was full of traps and hidden passageways. And this is how Eric became known as the Trapdoor Lover. The palace was designed so that the king could go from any room to without being seen, as well as any whisper could be heard.
Oh.
And as it is mentioned in Jacques' narration here, the Phantom later would come to Paris and design the opera house. So it's assumed that the same tricks he used in the construction of the opera house, or in construction of the palace, were used in the opera house.
Oh.
So all the passages and the ability to hear any whisper.
That's pretty sweet.
So one thing that Jacques kind of mentions here, which is kind of bullcrap, is that Jacques claims that he went to school with the Phantom at some point, which seems really dumb. I don't know how that works. The Phantom, as a child, would have to wear a mask to school, I guess? Which, I don't know. It's basically, they just do it so that jocks can just talk all this history about the Phantom.
And seem knowledgeable.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, the Phantom ran away from a young age. The notes sort of indicated that he had some sort of education, but not formal, or at least not very... Yeah, no. Oh,
the mouse of anger.
You know, like, it's not said for sure at what age the Phantom ran away, so maybe he did go to some school, but I can't picture Baby Phantom with his little skull face sitting in a class with, like, just regular school kids around him.
Yeah, that seems iffy.
Yeah. But to finish the story of Eric's background, so after the palace was completed for the Shah/King of Persia, he ordered Eric killed so that no one would know the palace's secrets, and so that Eric could never make anyone else an equally amazing palace.
Oh.
The Persian had kind of become the Phantom's buddy at this point, so he helped him escape.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah. After traveling around Europe for a bit more, Eric eventually went to Paris, where, as mentioned, he won the contract with the designer of the opera house and was able to build it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
His own private trap house.
Basically, it allowed Eric to design secret chambers and passageways and his little house in the depths of the opera.
Who is that person?
Well,
he's an artist?
He is.
Interesting. I'm just gonna hang out here.
Yeah,
showing off my art.
Bonjour.
Oh.
Is
this the guy? Oh my god!
Yeah, so you mentioned you were a fan of him?
What do you paint?
Oh, not anymore if you agree to appear in this crap.
Well,
oh wow, they're making them sound really perverted, which...
Yeah.
You know what? I can't really recall, but that might have been accurate.
I mean, to be fair, I did not dig deep, but a cursory glance, I could not find any mention of Degas was a weird, creepy pedo.
Well, I mean, back in those days, it was kind of just normal for people to just hang out in whorehouses.
And lick their lips and grin.
Oh.
He's... Yeah.
This maybe?
Don't you?
No, I'm not a painter.
Are you lost?
And just to kind of point out this early, there's no point to this conversation.
Oh, it's literally just to be a wink.
I guess they just included him because he painted ballerinas, and it's like, oh, it's an opera house, there's ballerinas.
I'm gonna have to look into this, because I seriously can't remember if he was a pervert?
I don't know.
All I ever remember in terms of, like, art history gossip is that Caravaggio was like, yeah, right? Yeah.
Art is the way it always works, monsieur.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it annoys me that we're having this prolonged conversation with him when the effort put into this could have been used elsewhere to better this game.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that? What do you
mean? This is a little...
Yeah.
It feels stupid.
It's unnecessary, and he goes off, and we never see him again, and our life goes on. We've got other stuff to do.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You saucy biscuit. I wish at this point that I had known he was in this game, because then I would have done some research and talked a little bit. Because I think his paintings are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And his pastels.
Well...
I'm just gonna waddle off.
Yeah, so long. We're gonna go,
Thanks for showing up in the game there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's there. There's really no point.
My goodness.
Yeah. Alright. So we're off to go talk to the manager, presumably because he wants to check in with his amnesiac friend.
Wow. So is this, Monsieur Richard?
Yeah. So he's kind of one half of the managers in the book.
Yeah, and who's the other one in the...
Moncharmin.
Right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Monsieur Malchaman?
Yes.
Nice.
Raoul! Feeling better, I hope?
Wow,
Much
he is
better.
exuberant.
You were very lucky, my friend. But let's get down to business. I have some things to tell you about our ghostly friend.
I don't want to hear about him. Tell me about that, babe.
Yeah, so this manager, contrary to the book, they're pretty into the whole opera ghost thing. So they kind of sort of follow the previous managers, the ones prior to Moncharmin and Richard, in that he kind of goes along with the opera ghost stuff.
Oh, I see.
And here's mention of Carlotta again, who... She wasn't a main character, but she was kind of an important side character.
I remember her from Robert Englund.
Yeah. Again, I sort of feel like the game would have been a lot better if they just kind of followed the book more, because we would have been able to see the conflict of Carlotta, and we would have been able to see the scene with the croaking.
Yeah, that probably would have been pretty interesting. But could you work it into a puzzle? I think not.
Unfortunately. But,
So did he throw his voice to make her croak?
Exactly.
Oh, I figured it out.
He used his ventriloquy to great effect to create the croaking and do all his other tricks.
Nice.
And here's mention of the 20,000 francs. So Madame Giry is basically, part of her responsibilities, she's sort of the middleman to ferrying the money, the payment to the Phantom.
Which box does he reserve?
Again, she's not really important, but there is a really great scene in which Madame Giry interrupts a tense situation with the managers.
Oh.
And one of the managers is described as having a really terrible temper, and he shows it in that instance by spitting Madame Giry around and kicking her in the ass out of the office.
That's kind of hilarious.
It really is. Comedy.
It's funny because you can't say. Oh, look what I did.
Yeah.
After the boxes. She is the one who finds the notes the ghost leaves for us, usually in box 5. It is about time for her to return.
Yeah, so we are, as you might expect, we are preparing to go meet the psychic Madame Giry.
She does her job.
I hope she has a crystal ball.
Oh, God.
Tell me about
You can just
Christine's
hear
day.
Shaw's soul dying.
It's just so...
unnecessary and stupid.
Haven't you
Yes.
been seeing each other?
Oh, yes, and here, again, their relationship is so out in the open. It's interesting to note, actually, that, as you sort of alluded to, the opera-goers were kind of looking down on the relationship, specifically looking down on Christine. They sort of saw it as she was reaching too high above her station, trying to get a marriage with, Raoul.
Oh,
Where does she
it's
come
not her
from?
fault that she's so attractive.
I knew her father before he died. He was a
And here we're talking about Christine's father, referred to as Daddy Daye in the books.
After her mother died,
Doesn't
she was
she?
studying ballet when one of the
No, I can't
directors
remember.
heard her
Anyways.
sing.
She, Christine was a pretty big daddy's girl. So once we talk to her, we're kind of going to get more of a sense of that.
She has had 2 minor
Her
parts
father
since
was a
then.
great musician
He
in
has
his
never
own
sung
right.
the lead.
And so I think it
Is
can be
she really a
inferred
good
that
singer?
part of Christine's desire to be a great singer maybe
Yes,
comes
she
from
is.
having this shared love of
I'm
music
not
with
sure
her
she could
father.
sustain a leading
That makes
role.
sense.
She's still young and undisciplined.
I'm assuming her father
But she has
died?
gotten
Yes,
better
her
and better
father
just
died,
in the
and
last
as
few
the
weeks.
game sort of
It is as
mentions
if she
here,
acquired an outstanding
after his
teacher.
death,
She
Christine
is
sort of lost the
leaps
soul in
and
her
bounds
voice.
in
Oh.
really a few
And
days.
it was the Phantom's
Will
teachings
she
when
sing
he
the lead
kind of
in The
appeared to
Wedding
her
with
that
Isabel?
allowed her to kind of not
Regain that?
regain it
Yes, I
and
have
kind of
agreed to
exceed
it.
her previous
Besides,
capabilities.
Carlotta has a seriously
Interesting.
made-up throat ailment. Otherwise, she would have thrown a fit.
A teacher?
Like a frog.
What do you mean?
So here is kind of where we get the
Practically daily, she comes in with
information
some new
proper
technique,
about
or it
the
seems she has
Phantom
learned
acting as
more about
Christine's
emotion,
music teacher.
Or her voice seems
Oh.
much stronger. It's a number of things. Things only a trained musician could hear in her voice.
Yeah.
Someone is teaching her. There is no doubt.
Basically, Christine was a chorus girl.
Thank you, monsieur.
So,
I shall see you later.
I mean, she was employed at the opera, but she was just kind of in lower standing.
Yeah, nobody important.
Yeah. So for her to end up claiming the lead role one day was a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
The novel starts off with this, actually, her triumph. Basically, to everyone's surprise, Christine appears on stage in place of Carlotta, and she sings and wows everybody, and she faints dead away on stage. Raoul goes to her dressing room, and there's this moment where he tries to lovingly wake her up and asks her if she remembers her, as they knew each other when they were children.
Oh. Childhood friends.
Yeah. Well, but here we are.
Is that Madame Giry?
Yes.
Oh.
Just kind of hanging about here.
I'm so psychic. I knew you were coming.
Who might I be addressing?
Oh, good.
I am Mame Giry. I am caretaker of the boxes.
I understand you have dealings with the opera ghost.
Yes, that is correct. Mind you,
Fuck are you
I have
asking
never
me this?
actually seen him. He communicates to me by written messages which he leaves in his box.
And by that I mean he beams his messages directly into my brain.
I'm psychic, you know.
Once I peeked into the box during a performance. I saw the silhouette
Yeah, so this
of a
sort
man
of
sitting there.
possibly references that one scene that I mentioned where it appeared that the Phantom was sitting in the box with another
After a
woman.
minute or two, I gathered
lady
the courage to
friend.
look again.
Yeah.
It's actually
he
just
was
like a
gone.
mannequin that he brings everywhere.
Honestly,
What kind of
I
message?
sort of thought of that, and it's mostly because there's a
He has left
scene
messages to the
in
manager
the
requesting
Weber
my soul.
version where the Phantom
He
has
once
dressed
left me
a
nice note of
mannequin
thanks
as
for looking after his
Christine,
interests.
and she sees it
Oh.
and faints away.
Does he
Yeah,
tip you?
because that's creepy as hell.
Very
Yeah.
well. Better than
My
most
goodness,
of the gentlemen
Phantom.
who
Yeah.
pay for boxes.
So, as we're pointing out here,
Monetary
Madame
interest
Giry
protected.
kind of has this monetary interest in
Monsieur, I
protecting
resent
the
your
Phantom.
interest.
This is sort of
I
another,
am
this
a
is a
working-class
reason that
woman
the
trying to make a
managers kind
paltry
of
living.
bring
I would
up
naturally do my
against
best
Madame
for any
Giry.
patron who tips
For
like
a
that.
while, they think that she's
Supposed
in
to have
leagues
been
with
kind to me,
whoever
it's true,
the
but
Phantom
I do not
is,
protect her.
and
He
just
can
trying to
protect
steal money
himself.
from them.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, they end up locking her in an office
Tell me
while they're
about the
trying to figure
opera
out the whole
ghost's
business with the
personal
20,000 francs.
Oh.
Box 5 is the ghost's personal box. He
It's
has used it
important
ever
to
since
note
he
that
first
the
began
chandelier
hunting
crash,
the
which
opera.
happens in the novel,
Has not happened yet?
What is so special
well,
about
in the
Box
novel,
Five?
it happens
It
sort
offers a first-class
of
view of the
because
stage.
of
The boxes in this
Madame
area
Giry
are
being
among
let
the
go
best
of
seats in the
her
house.
role in tending to the boxes, as
have
well
never seen
as
him
the
enter
managers
or exit.
refusing to allow Christine
Never.
to sing
It
as
was a
the lead,
mystery.
and the
Who
whole
uses it?
20,000 francs
I
thing.
Ah.
Attending the
How
opera
did
the
he
night of the
get into
Chandelier
the box?
crash is a woman that one of the managers invited
He's
to
a
come and
ghost.
take over Madame
How
Giry's
should I
job.
know?
And if you remember, there was a single audience member killed,
Oh.
and as it turns out,
You're
it
hiding
was the
something.
woman who was replacing Giry. Who
That's
was,
convenient as shit.
yeah,
And
who was,
I
and
believe
Giry
you
was,
are
of course,
hiding
reinstated
something, monsieur.
in her position shortly
You are
after.
not
Ah.
free.
And here's the psychic bullshit coming to the forefront.
Ugh.
Monsieur, you are from another time and place. You do not know how
Why
to
did
act,
I
and
know
neither
this?
do I.
Because I'm
But
so
destiny
mystical.
is leading you to a dangerous
Yeah, no.
path. You have good
Yeah.
intentions,
again,
but I must warn you
it's
that your
entirely
mindset
pointless.
is quite cunning.
I just don't understand why we had to time travel and
Tell
why
me
we
more
couldn't just be
about what
playing
you
through the
said.
Phantom story. Like,
Because
Your
it's
soul
cool and
is
it's
under
what
the
all the
control of
people
forces
want.
I
beyond our
guess.
understanding.
It's hip with the kids.
You
I would just like to know, like,
your
is this
own
like the
time and
Phantom's
place
doing?
when
Does
the
he know how to
unfolding
time
play is
travel?
completely
Oh, probably.
enacted.
Like,
He
is
knows how to resurrect his skeleton body.
like
What is it
this
that must
just
be
destiny?
I do not know, monsieur. I do
Most
not
likely.
know.
Destiny's a bitch like
There
that.
are some items that will help you.
So
And
there are
perhaps I can
items
help.
that will help us.
Are we doing a fetch quest?
What are these
So,
items?
to spoil it,
Look
The
for
whole
3
reason why we
items
have been
from
collecting
your
the
own
frames
time.
is because they are from our time,
How can you help me?
What?
the future of 1993.
I can unlock
That is
box
the
5 for you.
stupidest thing!
In
cannot
order
connect until you
to
have more
prove that we are
control over your
worthy
destiny.
of trying to go after the
Find
Phantom,
the items,
we have
and
to
I
show
will
Madame
unlock
Giry
the
that we
box.
went around the opera and we collected
Madame
these
Giry,
stupid
you know,
frames.
is
All
not
that
really
proves is
so.
that you're good at walking places.
Yeah, like it doesn't
I
prove that we're
sense that you
capable
are a
of
good
matching
man.
his wit.
Maybe you're gonna have a
No,
walk-off.
he is not a good
Oh
man, nor
god,
you
that'd be
or
great
I.
actually.
Pretty good.
But he has
Yeah.
powers. Powers which I do not totally understand.
So Madame Giry
Quite intelligent as
mentions
Eric.
here how
He is
Eric's
one with the
intelligence,
structure of
and
this
he
building.
is a genius in
If you
the
wish to
novel,
find him,
and so that's part of the
go to
tragedy,
the
is that
structure
if
itself.
not for his deformity,
When
he
did
would
he
have
first
been
begin
a
haunting
brilliant
Rome?
man who probably could have done so much good in the world,
It
but
was really
because of
since it
his
opened in
deformity, he's been
1875.
spurned by everybody,
I
and it just
started
shaped him
working here
into
in
the monster that he
1879.
is.
He has
That
always
is
been here, to my
tragic.
knowledge.
I mean, he's still a dick, but that's
He was
tragic.
around
Yeah, like, a
during
lot of
construction
versions of the
opera,
Phantom of the
and
Opera
even
tend to
during the
take it
time of
either
the
two ways.
Commodore.
They either make him a full monster,
Tell me
or
more
they make
about
him a
his
full,
work
like,
in the
romantic
construction.
figure. This is particularly in the Weber
He
version.
used the time and space
He's the
to
Lothario,
build his own domain
he is
below
Don
the
Juan.
theater. I believe he may have protected
but
his
he's
lair
just
with puzzles
misunderstood.
and traps.
You can love him better.
What
Yeah.
kind of traps?
He
So,
gained much knowledge of diabolical traps
mentioning
and puzzles
here
while
his
he lived
history in
Persia.
Persia,
Ah.
and
Have
a
tale for
hint
the puzzle
towards
with
the
toggle switches,
later
which
puzzle of the
corresponds with
game.
26 letters of our alphabet.
A puzzle
I know nothing more.
that corresponds to the 26 letters of our
Do you know the
alphabet.
key to these
That sounds
puzzles?
tedious.
It's
I
not
believe the key
tedious,
lies
it's in
from
fact the
fact that
easiest
opera
goddamn
ghost
thing
is very
ever.
vain.
Oh.
He thinks
For
much
someone
of
who is
himself.
the
The
trapdoor
answers
lever
may
and
be
who's supposed to be
something
this
very
genius.
personal to the Phantom.
He puts no effort.
Yeah, not in this in this version of the game.
Damn it, Eric.
Adieu,
Get your
Madame
shit
Giry.
together.
Yeah, come on.
This is supposed to be
Adieu,
your
monsieur.
thing.
Oh my, why did I not see before? You already
So,
have the
since we
items
have
from
all
your time.
the frames on us already,
You-
Oh, we
you
proved ourselves.
are one step ahead
yeah,
of me.
she just somehow notices them. I don't know if Ral kind of
You will be
opens
one
his
step
coat and
ahead
flashes
of
her
me
these.
as well.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I shall unlock
So,
box 5 for
we've
you now.
proven ourselves to Madame Giry.
It's such a stupid task.
Hmm.
Ah, monsieur, in order to prove to me, you must wash these dishes.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
must do my laundry.
So, where we return next time, we're going to be entering the mysterious box 5.
Return like the Phantom?
Oh, God.
Ooh.